channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie and you're watching. My final TBR of the year. Hi, Akasha. Whenever I'm in here, she's gotta appear on camera. Like, she wants to be a YouTuber so bad. This is my final TBR for 2020. Thank funking God. Thank funking God this year is almost over. We only have 31 more days of 2020 to crawl through. We are literally so close to the end, and I
Thank 9 gods for that, to be honest.
This whole year has been Muppet rabies. Funk this year. For my final TBR, I know a lot of y'all were like really excited for me to use my TBR cards in the month of December, but we are going to wait until January for my first official TBR with my newly printed TBR cards, because what I wanted to do for this month, for this TBR, was to specifically read only books that I think have the potential to be either my favorite book of the year or to make it onto my top 10 favorite books of 2020. The reason that I'm doing this is because I made a top books of the year from January to June video, just so I can compare the reads from part 1 of the year to the reads of part 2 in the year, to basically see if anything on that list has changed. And as of right now, the list has changed infinitesimally. I haven't had the most spectacular reading year. Yes, I've read a bunch of books that I loved, that stimulated me and changed my perspective on things, but I haven't been as wowed by any of the books that I have read since June as I was by the books that I read prior to June, if that makes sense. So I want to give 2020 one last final chance to impress me. Now, these books are not books that have exclusively come out in 2020. They are books that y'all are absolutely crazy about, that you've been pressuring me to read and really wanting my thoughts on. And they're books that I also have been eyeing, that I just have this feeling.
Got a feeling
that they would be my favorite books of the year. Okay, without further preamble, let's get into the very first book, and that is going to be 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. Now, many of y'all know N.K. Jemisin as the brilliant 3-time Hugo Award-winning author of the Broken Earth trilogy, which I am absolutely in love with, along with all of BookTube. Now, this is another trilogy. It's gotten so much praise, and I just have this feeling that I'm gonna love this series more than the Broken Earth trilogy.
I don't know why, but I just have a feeling that I will.
Honestly, I don't know anything about this book, and I'm completely okay with that, but I do love fantasies that center around kingdoms, and since the 5th season was a dystopian where any kind of, kingdom, royalty, any of that just wasn't a thing, I'm really excited about this book. And yes, you will be seeing me film a Black Girl Magic vlog to vlog my reading experience. I am also going to be reading Rosewater by Tade Thompson. Now, this has made it onto 1 or 2 of my TBRs previously, and I flirted with the idea of reading this for December, but ultimately I was like, nah, I don't think that this has the potential to make it onto my top 10 books of 2020. But Starla of Starla Reads basically just sent
death threats to my home.
Basically sent envelopes full of anthrax and was like, you better read this book in December. Starla, if you're watching this, if I read this book and it does not make it onto my books of 2020 list, I'm gonna make an entire video about how much you wasted my time. So you better hope that this book is the B and the knees, okay? We are following Caro, who is a government agent with a secret past, who has the ability to navigate the psychic space surrounding this alien biodome that has appeared in the center of the city. This dome has long been rumored to be able to bestow healing powers to those who come in contact with it, and no one truly knows its purpose and its function. But when the dome begins killing off the sensitives, who are people like Caro, who have the ability to navigate the psychic space that the dome creates, Caro decides to go off script and to defy the government in order to interfere with the biodome's dark plans for humanity. I am really excited. I'm excited for the alien technology. I'm excited for black sci-fi. The cover is beautiful. I have no doubt that this book is going to be one that I enjoy. Now, Hannah of Clockwork Reader is going to be so excited that I'm finally picking up The Shadow of the Wind. Now, unfortunately, Carlos Ruiz Zafón has passed away this year, and a lot of people are reading his books in his honor, and I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to pick up this book in the year that he has passed on, and hopefully I will like it. This is a staple within not just booktube, but the book communities overall. This is a book that has made it onto so many favorites of all times lists, and I heard nothing but rave reviews about it. I have yet to hear one person say that they didn't love this book from page 1 all the way to the end. When our protagonist finds a mysterious book titled The Shadow of the Wind, he decides to set out in order to uncover other works by this author. But on this journey, he finds that the works of this author, including other prints of this book, are being systematically destroyed. And so he realizes that he is likely the last person in possession of the Shadow of the Wind. And this leads him down a dark path of secrets, murder, and chaos. Now I have one that I know y'all are gonna be so excited about, and I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous because so many of you have been hyping this book deeply, and y'all know I just have a bad relationship with hyped books. It's just this awful curse where if a book is hyped, I just don't have a great reading experience with it, and it sucks because I want to be able to enjoy the books that y'all are enjoying. I'm praying that this book lives up to the hype, and that is Legendborn. This is a YA fantasy. It is dark academia, and we are following a grieving girl named Bree who attends a residential program for exceptionally bright high schoolers. However, when Bree finds that she has magic and learns that her mother's death was absolutely not an accident, she ends up being indoctrinated into the school's secret society of mages, ultimately ends up infiltrating the Legendborn in order to become one of its initiates. Now, that synopsis might not be exactly what happens. I'm just trying to glance at the back of the book because I want to go into it knowing as little as possible. So yes, I will also be filming a Black Girl Magic vlog for this book. This is the book that I'm just dying to read. I'm so curious about it, and it is none other than Rage of Dragons. I have heard amazing things about this epic fantasy. It is the first in a series. Give me death, give me magic, give me swordsmanship, give me dragons. That wasn't supposed to sound so poetic, but okay. I don't know very much about the synopsis, but the back of the book says, a world caught in an eternal war, one young man will become his people's only hope for survival. So because of the fact that that's literally all of the synopsis given, I'm going to trust that it is just best to go into this book knowing as little as possible, which is typically how I like to go into my fantasy books anyway, because I find that the synopsis often just gives me a little bit too much information. Like the synopsis for Legendborn, so freaking long. This is too much information, okay? I feel like a synopsis should be a paragraph, a short one, but that's just me. However, I have heard of very few people not enjoying this book, and I'm so excited. It is 500 pages.
Probably will get the audiobook for that.
I have 11 books in total, and I know for sure I'm going to do a reading vlog for 100,000 Kingdoms and Legendborn, but I want to do lots of vlogs in December. So if there is a specific book or a specific set of books in this stack that you want me to make it into a vlog for y'all, please let me know. If you're particularly curious about my reading journey for any of these books, let me know, and I will do my best to make sure I vlog my experience with that book. I have another of BookTube's favorites, and that is an Ember in the Ashes. This is book 1 in the series. The last book comes out or came out this month, and people are so freaking excited about it. I'm very on the fence about this, but a bunch of you have said that it has the potential to make it onto a favorites list of this year, so I decided to pick it up. I'm gonna trust y'all. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. I think it's Laya. When Laya's brother is arrested for treason, she decides to elicit help from rebels who promise to rescue him. However, in exchange for his life, Laya must promise to spy for them at the Empire's most prestigious military academy. At this academy, she meets a highly esteemed soldier and finds that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will, and I quote, change the fate of the empire itself. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Chanel Miller being the Asian woman who survived the brutal attack of Brock Turner at Stanford, was very much tired of just being known as Emily Doe and decided to write this book about how the criminal justice system looks at victims of sexual assault and rape, especially with a focus on how this impacts Asian women. And essentially she writes about how to move through unbearable suffering. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book from some of my most highly trusted reviewers, and I've been putting it off for a really long time because it's such a heavy subject matter, and I know it's gonna make me cry. I know it's gonna absolutely destroy me, but I'm very, very excited to finally be reading her powerful memoir. Then I have a queer memoir from a Black man. This is Here For It, which everyone on Bookstagram has been raving about pretty much all year. In this book, we have a Black queer man who is kind of recounting what life was like growing up in a very wealthy white community and attending an elite school that was highly populated by white folks, as well as being queer and growing up in the Black church and what it means to be a Black queer man in America. And it gives me All Boys Aren't Blue vibe, which y'all know if you watched my favorites of the first half of the year video, that was either my number 1 or my number 2. I think it was my number 2. And I've heard that this book is not only revelatory, but incredibly funny. And I want that. I want funny, I want painful, I want joyous, I want complexity.
I want all of that.
Then I have Transcendent Kingdom by Yagyasi, which I am so pumped about. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I'm so glad that I have it in my hands. So this book is a novel following a Ghanaian family after their immigration, and we are following Gifty, who is a 6th year postdoctoral student, and she studies neuroscience and is absolutely devastated when her elder brother, who is a famous basketball player, loses his life due to opioids. And so this book explores like faith and grief and trauma, as well as immigration and depression, mental health and grief. And I've heard beautiful things about this, again, on Bookstagram. So I'm really excited. This is going to be my first Yagyasi novel, and I really, really hope that I love it. I'm also going to be reading The Nickel Boys, which recently won the frickin' Pulitzer Prize. This is a piece of literary historical fiction that is set in the 1960s Tallahassee. Our protagonist is unfairly sentenced to a juvenile reformatory school known as the Nickel Academy, and he's subjected to all sorts of horrors at this school. And it's supposed to be commentary on how many Black youths were sentenced to these reformatory schools where they were abused and mistreated. And I've heard nothing but amazing, amazing things. And the final book on my TBR is A Little Life. I have heard nothing but amazing things about this. I've also heard that it is trauma porn, that it is queer trauma porn, that it's just a book that is designed to make the reader suffer and be destroyed. I've heard a lot of people were unable to finish this book, that it was just simply too dark and dreary. In this book, we are following 4 artists who are all best friends that are in their late 20s, early 30s, and all of them are still trying to desperately achieve some measure of success within their fields. The 4 of them are held together by their mysterious but enigmatic friend named Jude, who refuses to talk about his past, who suffers from a nerve disorder that leaves him in inexplicable pain. And essentially it's a book about found family and grief and addiction. And I'm really excited about it. I'm reading the audiobook right now, and it is a huge snooze fest. So I'm really hoping that it picks up the pace soon. Okay, that is gonna do it for this video. Please let me know which of these books that you would like to see me do reading vlogs for. Now, if you made it this far in the video, comment down below with a star emoji, or you can simply spell out the word star, simply because these books are all what I'm hoping to be 5-star reads, and ideally some of my favorites of the year. Thank you so much for watching another Bow Ties and Books production. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love it if you became a part of my bookish family. All of my social media links are going to be in the description box below. Stay safe, wear your mask, and I'll see you in my next video.